Most people's life looks something like this. I lose the weight, I gain it back. I make money, I lose money. I get the relationship, I lose the relationship. I start improving my grades go back down. Over and over and over and over. But somehow they can never break through to that point that they're trying to achieve. They can never actually get the thing that they want. And in today's video, I'm going to teach you why that actually happens. Because if just doing more worked, a lot of people would have what they want. So it has to be something deeper than just do more. If you put meatloaf in the oven 1,000 times, you will never get a cake. So we have to look at what ingredients am I cooking with and what do I actually want. Most people, if you ask them what their goal is, they'll say something very vague. They'll say something like, I want a lot of money. How much? I want to go to college. What do you want to go to college for? I want a girlfriend or boyfriend. Describe them. What are their character traits? How do they treat you? What kind of lifestyle do they have? I want a nice car. What color? What kind of car? What brand? Do you want a sports car? Do you want an SUV? What do you want? If you want to make big changes in life, you have to understand clearly, what do I even want? That's level 1. And take your time to get clear on that. Now, after you clearly know what it is that you want, here comes the big point. Most people focus on trying to get the goal. I want to get the car. I want to get the relationship. And that makes sense. You want to get the thing. But instead what we're going to do is ask ourselves this question. Instead of what do I want, we ask ourselves, who must I become to get what I want? What kind of person do I need to become? For our example, I'll use myself. For those who are new, my name is Lawrence, and I'm a professional public speaker, and I help teens and young adults to improve their confidence, self-worth, mindset, all that good stuff. And I started doing this when I was 16 years old. I'm 20 now, so I've been doing this for 4 years. When I first started out, all I had was an iPhone and a microphone that my mom bought me off Amazon. That's what I was working with. I didn't know how to make thumbnails. I didn't know anything, really. I was just throwing stuff on the internet and hoping something worked. So, who did I need to become to have this office? Who did I need to become to be traveling the country and doing all that, cool stuff? Who do I need to become to go on all these podcasts? Who I needed to become was somebody who was confident. So we'll just write it down on the board. I needed to become confident. I misspelled that. I needed to become knowledgeable on my subject. I needed to become good time management. I needed to understand content creation. Graphic design. I needed to become resilient because sometimes people leave mean comments. I needed to become consistent because if you just show up for one day, but you don't show up ever again, you're not going to get what you want. I need to become somebody who was creative. I needed to become somebody who was able to show up even when it hurt. So I will say, how would I describe that? I'll say determined. I needed to become somebody who was able to pay bills on time. So money management. And we could go down the list and probably name like 1,000 different things. But the point is, if I simply just kept posting more videos without understanding how to make a good thumbnail, without understanding how to make a good title, without understanding a lot of information on my subject, without becoming very knowledgeable on it, without being able to articulate myself clearly, people would not have enjoyed the videos. They would have been like, ooh, what's this guy talking about? Whereas now, I can do stuff like this with no script off the top of my head. Because rather than just doing more, I became the kind of person who could have all of this. I became the kind of person who was confident at public speaking, good at managing his time. I understood how to make a good YouTube video. I understood how to make a thumbnail, graphic design. I was creative, determined, resilient. I post consistently. I'm able to pay my bills on time so that I don't get evicted from this place. So when you're thinking about your goals, don't just think about, I want to get that thing. You have to start thinking about, who do I need to become in order to get that thing? So, Lawrence, how in the world do I do that? How do I understand who I need to become? Because in order to get something that you've never had before, you often have to become somebody that you've never been. So the way you do that, and you figure out what kind of skills, what kind of habits, maybe what kind of daily routine, what kind of foods, when you figure out who you need to become, you ask yourself, the version of me that has what I want, what are they like? What do they do? Do they, let's say a daily habit such as they go to the gym, work out daily, they are confident, they eat healthy food, they are social, because if you want to get a girlfriend or boyfriend, you got to talk to people. They study a lot, study daily. If you want to improve your grades, it would be, very beneficial if you studied every single day. They go to tutoring, let's say that. Tutor. They read a lot. They are good sleep schedule. And I could keep going, but the point is, if you want to break the habit and the cycle that your life keeps going between, you have to change up who you're being, not just what you're doing. Because if somebody just keeps doing more and more and more of what does not work, they'll never get the thing. They might see a little progress, but eventually you go back to what you're used to. You've probably heard this in many of my other videos and in my books, but your brain is a wet computer, and its job is to keep you alive. And the way it does that is by making you do what you're used to doing. This is why when you wake up, you do the exact same thing every day. You grab your phone, you brush your teeth, you put on your clothes, you get on the school bus like clockwork. You don't even think about it. You come home, you do X, Y, Z every time like clockwork. You don't even think about it. So when we change who we're being and our daily actions and our inputs and the ingredients that we're cooking with, we can get a different result. The way we do this is after you have already figured out clearly what do you want, and then who do I have to become to get there, you want to remove the guesswork. Because when you start making big changes in your habits and your daily actions, there's this resistance that pops up. There is this wall. And I'll draw this out for you. Let's say that right here, this is you. And here is you right now as you are. But then, I want something different. I want to make a big change in my life. This is the wall of resistance. This is everything between you and the life that you want. I'll draw this out with the green marker, actually. Here's you right now. Here's everything between you and the life you want. Getting that relationship. Getting the kind of body you want. The kind of money you want. The lifestyle you want. This is you now. Everything stopping you. And you in the future who has it. That resistance is going to be things like procrastination. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to go to the gym at 7:30 in the morning. I don't want to have to change what I'm eating. I don't want to have to change who I'm around. I don't want to have to change the music I'm listening to. I don't want to have to stop playing video games. I don't want to stop doing that. That's the resistance. It's the feeling of pressure between you and everything you want. And the way that we get through this is when you notice it rising up, you push yourself just a little harder. It's sort of like your brain needs you to tame it. When horseback riders are getting a new horse, and it's a wild animal, this thing is powerful, it is kicking, it is angry. What they have to do is they have to tame the horse. You have to make the horse listen to you. And over time, you're able to kind of break down the wall. When you go to the gym and you say you're going to do 25, but you do 30, and you break down the wall a little bit. Now, when you do this, it's as if your mind starts to say things like, well, we don't need to do all of that. One cheat meal won't hurt. One cookie won't hurt. And one won't hurt. But 1 turns to 2, turns to 4, turns to 5, turns to 6. And this is why people can be consistent with their diet and then they go back. People can make money and then they lose it. You can get a girlfriend or boyfriend and then y'all break up. And you just stay in this, under this certain layer. But if you want to break through, you have to break down the wall. And that can be very painful. It might mean I have to stop hanging around certain people. And you break down the wall a little bit. I have to change what I eat. And you break down the wall a little bit more. I have to add new habits in. You break down the wall a little more. I have to do hard things even when I don't feel like it. You break down the wall a little more. I have to change my daily actions. You break down the wall. You might have to get rid of a certain addiction. You break down the wall a little more. You stop playing video games. Break down the wall a little more, little more, little more. You become more confident. Little more, little more, little more. And then, boom, by becoming the person who can, you get the life you want. Because in a video game, if a character is level 1, but they're trying to play level 100, no matter how many times you play level 1 character in level 100 game, you're not winning. You have to level up. The way you level up is figuring out, what do I need to do? What do I need to change? What kind of experiences do I need to get? What kind of habits do I need to create? What kind of ways of thinking do I need to change? Sometimes it's not about what we're doing, it's about who we're being. It's so much more important who you're being than what you're doing, because the way you see yourself is how you perform. Let me break this down to you, because I know this may sound a bit strange to people who haven't thought about this before. Imagine if somebody thinks that If I just keep putting meatloaf in the oven, I'll get a cake. You won't. You're using the wrong ingredients. And the ingredients is, who am I being? What do I believe about myself? What are my habits? How do I think about myself? How do I think about others? How do I treat myself? How do I treat other people? How am I showing up? Because I have been around some people who have been very, very, very influential. I have met politicians. I have met people who are multimillionaires. I have met people who are just, you wouldn't even believe it if I told you. And I'm not saying that in a bragging way. I'm saying that in a way of Lawrence, when he was 16 years old, had a big ego. I thought that I was the best thing under the sun. And it's okay to believe in yourself. It's okay to feel confident, but you can't be arrogant. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was know when to shut up and listen, because you might learn something. That was one of the best pieces of advice I ever got. Now, that means that sometimes you're going to face your own ego. I'll put it that way. Where, who do they think they are talking to me? Sometimes they might actually be right. I've had many times where people have said things to me where in the moment I didn't want to hear that, but when I sat down and I thought about it, I was like, they kind of got a point. And then I would, apologize for how I acted in that moment and clarify that, hey, it hurt my feelings in that moment, but you're right. One of the skills that you need to learn how to do is admit when you're wrong. And in order to break the loop that is keeping you stuck between who you are now and who you want to be, you have to break down that wall. You have to change things about how you're acting, how you're being, what you're around, what you're not doing, in order to go from level 1 to level 100. Now, the last point that I'm going to leave you with is this. Ask yourself, the version of me that has what I want, live the life that I want, in the body, in the relationship, whatever that I want, what do they believe? About themselves. So, first of all, what is a belief? At its core level, a belief is something that we believe is true about a piece of reality. So, you might believe that I'm not smart. The reason why you believe that is because throughout your life you've had people say that to you. You've had experiences that have told you that you didn't pass the math test. Somebody insulted you. And over time, we hear stuff so much that we start telling it to ourselves and we say, I am blank. Whatever you put after I am, it's as if you are labeling yourself as that. So, the version of you that, let's say, has a girlfriend. The version of you that had that girlfriend is, I am confident. I am lovable. I am attractive. I am funny. These are certain things that version of you would believe. And if you want to figure out what does that future version of you believe, you can ask yourself, what would they have to believe is true in order to get that? Because your beliefs are like the code of a computer, and that code dictates everything that you think, how you act, how you treat people, the things you do, and the things you don't do. Our beliefs are like the code of our computer. This is why people who believe a certain religion, for example, they believe, like, undeniably, this is true. Other people believe something else is true. And you might ask, well, who's right? They both are, because beliefs only are true to the person thinking them. Now, there are things that are undeniably true, such as gravity. Undeniably true. That is an objective thing. That is a fact. But everything else isn't. And the way that we believe about ourselves dictates everything that we do. So, if you believe that I am not confident, you will think you're not confident, you will feel unconfident, and you will do things that make you unconfident because your brain is looking for evidence. Whatever you say after I am, your brain will find evidence. This is why I could hand you $5 million. And if somebody says that I'm broke, I never have enough, I'm bad with money, and they won the lottery, because this happens. That person wins the lottery. 2 years later, gone. No money left. They're bankrupt. How? Because they kept saying, I am bad with money. And your brain is a computer that is just listening. And whatever you say after I am, your brain says, okay, I'm not going to filter what you say. Okay. And then it starts making you do that. The important part, though, is a lot of people, they say like, all right, well, Lawrence, am I just supposed to say over and over, I'm confident, I'm a millionaire, despite the fact that my bank account is negative $200? No. What you say is, I'm getting better with money every day. And you start learning how to make a budget. You start taking actions that prove I am getting better with my money every day. So your brain now sees that I'm not lying to it. When people try to fake it until they make it, the problem is you know you're faking it. So you're not going to believe it because you know that you're lying to yourself. If instead you were to say, I'm becoming more confident every day, and you say hello to one person every single day, your brain says, okay, this is true because I am becoming more confident every day, and I'm doing actions that a confident person would do every day. And as a result, I am becoming more confident, and then one person turns into two. 2 turns into 4, and then 4 turns to 5, and so on and so on. I'm becoming better with managing my money every day. Well, we did learn how to make a budget. We did learn how to open up a savings account. We did learn how to, figure out how much money we can afford to spend on things. So I am saying that I'm becoming better with money. I'm doing things that make me better with money, and eventually I am better with managing my money. So, to make it nice, sweet, and simple for you, if you want to break the loop that keeps you stuck in a life that you're not enjoying, if you want to change the results that you're getting, you have to, number one, clearly understand, what do I want? What is the result I'm trying to create? Number 2, figure out who do I need to become in order to get that thing. So what habits do I need to create? What beliefs do I need to have? What do I need to remove from my life? What do I need to add into my life? Do I need to stop going to certain places? Do I need to stop hanging around certain people? What do I need to do? And then number 3, become the person who can, and as a result, by becoming the person who can get the life that you want, you get it. And I'm not saying this as somebody who just made this up. This is quite literally the formula. Become the person, do the things, have the result. With that said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. You know, I'm feeling great. Today is the day that I hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It took me a couple of years to do it, but I made it happen. And if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, you can find those links in the description below. If you're looking for a speaker for your school or youth organization or a podcast guest, you can email me at lawrence@lawrenceharris.com, as well as books and my products are in the links below as well. Have a good one.